Okay. Smile. We're gonna make paneer. Paneer. I love paneer. I love paneer cheese. Smile. All right, we can begin. Hey guys, Lady Lee here from ladyleeshome.com, and in this video I want to show you how I make paneer cheese. I am going to use my goat milk here, but you can use any kind of milk. Paneer cheese holds its shape really good while cooking, so there's a lot of Indian dishes that use paneer cheese. And even if you're not a big fan of the Indian cuisine, that's fine. At the end of this video, I will show you how I fry this cheese, usually for breakfast. Fried cheese, I mean, there's nothing better than that. I love this cheese. It is really easy to make and very quick, and a really good way to process some milk quickly. You don't have to let it hang for 12 hours or whatever. It's very easy, and we only need a few ingredients. A gallon of milk. We're gonna use citric acid to curdle the milk. You can also use vinegar and lemon juice in this cheese, and I will have the measurement on the under the video for if you want to use vinegar or lemon juice. I like to use citric acid because I think that the result is a little better. We're going to use 3/4 of a cup of cool water and a little bit of salt, just to salt the cheese at the end. So let's begin. First step, we're going to add our gallon of milk to a stainless steel pot. We're going to put it on the stovetop, and we're going to bring it to a boil. And I'm going to turn my stove to about medium because I don't want to burn the milk. And I'm going to stay right next to it and make sure that I stir the milk constantly to make sure it does not burn. Trust me when I say you do not want to leave and go somewhere even for just a few minutes, because once the milk reaches the boiling temperature, it will just bubble up and spill all over your stove, and it's going to be a disastrous mess. Don't ask me how I know that. I'm just telling you, stay by the milk. So I'm going to put it on the stovetop and bring it to a boil. If you want to get really exact, you can put a cheese thermometer in it and watch the temperature. We're looking for about 200, 210, 215 degrees. Once the milk is boiling, I'll come back here and I'll show you the next step. The milk is hot and foamy, and I managed not to make a huge foamy mess in the kitchen, which is a really big accomplishment. So we're moving on to the next step. I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of citric acid to 3/4 of a cup of cool water, and I'm going to just stir it until it's all dissolves in there. And now I'm going to bring the camera a little closer so you can see what happens to the milk once I add this. I'm adding it slowly, and I'm going to stir constantly as I add the dissolved citric acid to the milk. And I want to keep stirring for about 2 minutes or so. You can see what happens to the milk, how it curdles in there. I'm going to keep stirring for about 2 minutes, and then I'm going to cover the pot and let it rest for like 10 minutes or so. This last step you can do a few different ways. I am using a mold here. I will link to it below. I got it on Amazon and I use it a lot. I really like it. I am going to catch the whey. Basically, we're going to separate the whey from the curds now. So I'm going to catch the whey. I like to give it to my dog. You can use it a million different ways. So I put a big bowl over here and a strainer over it, and then my mold on top of this, and I am going to just transfer everything into the mold, and the whey will just drain down to the bowl. You can put the strainer over the sink if you don't want to keep the whey. You can use cheesecloth, or I like to use flour sack towels instead of a mold, and then you'll get a bowl of cheese. I find that since I usually fry this cheese for breakfast, it is easier for me if it is a square, and I'll show you how I use it later, but this mold just works good for me. So you do whatever works for you. There's really a lot of different ways to do this. What I'm gonna do now is just carefully dump everything into the mold. And it can be a little messy, so you just go slow. And you have to let the whey drain a little bit if you use the mold too. So you just go slow. All right, now this cheese drains pretty quickly. It's not like feta or, you know, goat cheese, soft goat cheese, or anything like that that you have to hang for hours and wait for hours. But it does take just a little bit of time, and what I usually do is just spend this time with the spoon kind of pushing it down. It will become kind of like a hard cheese, not too hard, but it's not a soft type of cheese. So this will be a block of cheese, and I'll show you in a minute how it's going to look. Some people like to use a weight to press it down. I don't really find a reason to do this. Once it drains from all the way, it becomes pretty solid and firm. So I usually don't use a weight. But if you want, you can use like maybe a cheesecloth and a piece of wood and a brick on top, or just kind of make some kind of homemade press to push it down. Usually I find that if I just spend a little bit of time pressing it down like this, then all the way is gone pretty quickly, and I don't really need to press it with the weight. Okay, so I'm going to put this aside. I have this little bowl here, and I'm just going to take my mold and put it on the bowl. This I can move aside. We don't need this anymore. I'll let the whey cool, and then I usually give it to my dog. Now this is a pretty tasteless cheese. All the taste for it comes later when you cook with it or when you fry it and you add your seasonings. But just like most cheeses, I like to salt it a little bit. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of salt on top, and the salt will also help the cheese drain from some more whey, and it adds a little bit of flavor to it. Okay, so I usually leave it for about a couple of hours on the counter, just like this. More whey is going to come out, and then I just go to the sink and empty it. Then after a couple of hours, I take my plastic wrap and just wrap the bowl like this, okay? Just like that. And I stick it in the refrigerator for a day or two. Usually I like to leave it for a couple of days to kind of get firm and age just a tiny bit. And then it's ready to use. Once the block of cheese that we just made drained down completely and spent a couple of days in the fridge, this is how it's going to look. Usually I have to run my knife around the mold from the inside to kind of release it, and then I flip the mold and wiggle it out, and I get this block of cheese. I'm going to show you how I use it now. I'm going to link below to a few recipes for paneer cheese that use paneer cheese. Most of them are probably from the Indian cuisine. I don't use it in that way. I simply fry it for usually breakfast. So once I get this nice beautiful block of cheese, I cut it into 4. And it's important to note that you can also freeze it. So, okay, so now I have these 4 parts. You can see that it's pretty solid from the inside. I'm gonna leave some of them here, and I'm only using, we're gonna do like 4 pieces. So I'm cutting it into slabs like that. They're like 1/2 centimeter, 1/4 inch thick, something like that. Okay, we got 5, so we're gonna do 5. Here's what we're gonna need. Just olive oil, good old olive oil. I'm using za'atar to season my cheese, and really there are no rules here. The cheese police is not going to come after you. You do whatever you want. You want it spicy, you can add cayenne pepper. You want some cumin flavor, use cumin, black pepper, white pepper, chili pepper, anything, really any type of seasoning, any kind of seasoning that you can think of, you can season this cheese with. Za'atar is very popular in the Middle East, and it's basically ground marjoram with sumac and sesame seeds and some salt in it. It is delicious and it works really well. It's also a really good friend of olive oil. So we're gonna fry this cheese in olive oil, but again, use whatever oil you want. And then of course a little bit of salt. We're gonna need a non-stick pan. I'm just using my little non-stick pan here since it's just 5 pieces. And I'm gonna show you how to do it. One thing to note is that if you're making yourself a meal or whatever, do this last because you wanna eat it right when it comes out of the pan. That's it, you guys. This is breakfast for me. I'm gonna go enjoy it now. I hope you'll give this cheese a try. It is a very simple recipe, very easy cheese for a beginner, and it is delicious. It really is. I like to try different seasonings each time. You can throw it on a salad, you can use it in different dishes, and I really just like to eat it with fried egg and some vegetables for breakfast. That's it. I hope this recipe and this tutorial was helpful. Please like and subscribe if you're not yet subscribed to my channel. I have all the information, the measurement, the instructions, everything below the video. And once I have a blog post on the blog with a picture tutorial, I will link to it below too. I will see you again in the next video. Bye.